Hey, what's going on? Michael from Reality Hacker here, and I wanted to ask you a question today. I wanted to ask you a question that may probe your own beliefs as to what you think to be true, and hopefully add a little bit of insight to you that will increase the quality of your life. And the question today is simple. Can our productivity and creativity be increased by the dictation of our state of consciousness? Now, my belief here is that yes, our productivity and creativity, these are 100% dependent upon the state that we are living in, right? We've established before that we can only do to the extent that we can be. So naturally, when we are living in more of a burned out state, when we're living in a state that is just consumed by work and all these different things that we don't necessarily like, we're naturally going to find our productivity decreases, our output decreases, our creativity decreases, and ultimately, I would say that those are factors that lead to us creating a life that we actually enjoy living. So, what are some things that you can do to begin increasing your state in order to generate more productivity, in order to generate more creativity, right? How can you generate better ideas to come out of this entire pandemic in a totally different space? Because the truth is, a lot of people are going to come out of this totally different people. This whole COVID-19 thing, a lot of people are going to come out and they're going to be totally different because they chose to understand the states of consciousness that they were occupying on a regular basis and shift those states. Because as you know, when you shift your state, you shift your world. Right? So it's really important here that we begin to examine, take some integrity for ourselves and determine what states we've been living in and see the correlations between our states and our realities. If you want to change your reality, you must first change your state. And the reason is because we do to the extent that we can be, we be to the extent that we are, and what we are is determined by what we conceive ourselves to be. Our self-image, right? So naturally, our reality being a culmination of experiences and people and circumstances is an effect of a cause, which is our dominant state of consciousness, right? So we act in alignment with our state of consciousness, producing the world that we live in. So what's the key here? What is really important? Well, the first thing that's really important is to understand the states we have been living in. And oftentimes we can figure out the states we've been living in by looking at the life we've been living. Action never betrays the state that created it. You can determine where you have been living based on the results that you're getting. If the results that you're getting are not up to par with the ones that you're wanting, you can know immediately that your state of consciousness needs to be altered. So what are some ways that you can begin to shift your state of consciousness in order to increase your creativity, your productivity, to generate new ideas that allow you to live a totally different level of being, of life? The first thing that you can do is slowly begin to question every single limiting belief that comes into your mind. Oftentimes, we prevent ourselves from reaching our potential because we unconsciously allow limiting beliefs to hold us back. So we end up wanting to do something, an idea comes into our head, and all of a sudden, most of the time, totally unaware, something says, oh no, that can't happen because blah, blah, blah. And this is the key right here. Most of us don't even notice that we do well, this can't happen because blah, blah, blah. If we did, and we caught that, and we questioned it, because who says you can't? This is my question for you. Who says you can't do whatever blah, blah, blah is? Maybe a parent or a teacher or a leader in the past, but I'm here to tell you that they're wrong. You can have, be, and do whatever it is that you want to do. And the only reason you are not doing it is because you do not believe you can. Belief is the first step in achievement. It absolutely is. We only do what we believe we can do, and we rarely exceed our own perceived potentials. And here is the amazing factor. Here's the magic, that our potentials, that potential, your potential, is a variable that shifts based upon your dominant state of consciousness. This is the amazing thing here. Potential is not predetermined before you come into this world. What you are capable of doing is totally subjected to what you believe you are capable of doing. So if you eradicate any of these limiting beliefs that come through when you're saying, oh yeah, I'd love to do that, naturally it's going to be easier and easier and easier to do the very thing we're wanting to do. The problem is, as we discussed, states of consciousness. So what happens to your state when you want to do something and a limiting belief comes up? Well, you automatically shift your state. Because what is a state? A state of consciousness is simply what we have consented to as true in this moment, right? So if I say, man, it'd be so great to do this, or man, it would be so great to do this, and then all of a sudden, I allow this, well, you can't do this because blah, 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 blah. What happens to my state? Right? It goes all the way down. And literally, it's like I've flatlined and I'm moving downward and downward and downward. Here's the key here. Getting into higher and higher states of consciousness. Again, because we do to the extent that we can be. And the longer of an extent that we can exist in higher states of consciousness, the more we are able to do. This is the way it works. This is the facts. That you are a divine being experiencing a human body. That your potential is virtually limitless. And you confine or open yourself to possibility or impossibility dictated by the states of consciousness that you are wearing every single day. Think about a state of consciousness as a jacket, or as a shirt, or as a pair of pants. We're always putting on and taking off new states, but we don't have to. We can wear one consistent state, but it comes down to discipline. It comes down to discipline. It comes down to hyper self-awareness, right? If we are going through our day saying, man, I'd love to do this. Man, this would be awesome. Man, this would be awesome. Guarantee you, with no limiting beliefs on the back end to rebound that, you'd see miracles in your life. But too many of us, we say, oh man, I'd love to do that, but you can't because you got to pay your bills. Oh, I'd love to do that, but you can't because you only graduated high school. I'd love to do that, oh, but you can't because your parent, there's so many excuses. And this is where excuses become a choice. Once we are aware of the fact that our very acceptance of an excuse becomes the thing that hinders us from living the life that we want to live, we no longer get to blame our lives on anybody else. At this point, we acknowledge that we are the only ones holding ourselves back. And here, again, is the magic. You are the only person holding yourself back, just like you're the only person that can give you the permission to move forward, to live your life the way you want to be. You're the only person that can hold yourself back, and you're the only person that can move yourself forward. And if you understand this, if you live lucidly with this knowledge, with this consciousness, you'll find more synchronicities, more flow, more good stuff, just more of a positive well-being. Because isn't that all we want? We just want this positive state of being. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. You deserve that. What's holding you back from that is the belief that you cannot have that. What's holding you back from living the life that you want to live is the belief that you cannot live it. But once you understand that you are the very source of being from which the very thing you want to do comes from, you realize that you're not even separate from the thing you want. You are the thing you want right now. And again, any excuse you make, anything you use to pitch yourself as separate from that thing automatically becomes the stumbling block that prevents you from living and achieving it. What is the keys to take away here? 1, that you are divine, that you are the source of the thing you are wanting. 2, states of consciousness control action. Action is an effect of a cause. That is our state of consciousness. 3, the magic is in you. Your ability to tell yourself a story that is in alignment with high achievement, high productivity, and become natural and become that's the way it is with this story will determine your ability to get to that place in your life. But until that story becomes normal, until those high output, high productivity, high creativity states become normal in your life, those realities will not be normal. So in order for those realities to become normal, your new normal must be high. It must be positive. It must be, I can do, I can have, I can be anything I want. Instead of, oh, this is holding me back, this is holding me back, this is holding me back, blah, blah. No more excuses. Commit with me today to modify, to modulate your states of consciousness to get where you are wanting to get. And together, we'll change our own lives and we'll change the rest of the world. Talk soon.